Okay, so I go ahead and use these both colors here. Here's Matt with the sky. Use these two colors. First I put the blue down and I put this light gray over the top. And then what I did is I just took my finger here and just kind of smooth those out together. Right? And the Neopastels are so soft and creamy that they can just blend real easily and spread out just by using your fingers like this. And I'm not even putting a lot of pressure. I'm just rubbing my finger over it here. I could use a stump at this stage, but finger is doing a good job. So we'll just go ahead and spread out those two colors there and get good coverage in the sky. Now I'm kind of closer to that original sky color here. I'll show you the reference picture again. Here, if I can unlock my iPad. Okay, so you see that kind of light blue, kind of a light gray blue there in the sky color. It's kind of what I've got here. So, right, and it was these two colors here, this blue here, and then this light gray over the top together made that. Okay, all right, so that's done. Now I'm going to keep moving down to the rest of the painting. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back here for right now. We'll probably get out that gray later on. And I'm going to work back, and I'm working back on this section back in here. And you got to ask yourself, if you were to pick one color for this section, what would it be? Kind of a medium gray, and it kind of leans to the warm, so maybe a little warmth in there. So I'm going to find a medium gray, and maybe something like this, okay? And then I need a little bit of warmth, so maybe this kind of peach color will kind of give me that warmness that I see in the back, okay? So this is just a medium gray and like a peach. Again, Neopastels. And now look, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of branches back in there, a lot of snow-covered branches. Just a ton of them, man. And if I were to try to do every single one of those, oh, that would be a huge, huge, huge headache, okay? So I can't think like that. Instead, I'm just going to choose one color to represent that entire area. We'll just choose this gray. I'm just going to go right over the top of this Craypas here and just kind of scrub in some gray, okay? And I can put in some branches here in the back that kind of represent some of those things back in there, and just try to simplify this process because there's a very busy scene there in the background, a lot going on, way too much for my eye and brain to contemplate here, and just make this easy, okay? Pick one color that represents the entire area and then just go with it. Right, and I can always add more layers over the top. So you can see I'm just taking this gray, I'm going right over top of that Craypas layer here, and kind of work on that background. All right, so let's keep going with this gray. All right, and the eye, when we do some of this, we can start doing like this and kind of create branches here, and there, and the eye we'll just put it all together. We don't have to do every single one. We can just kind of cheat and kind of do it like that. All right? Make it easy. Make it easy. That's what you want to do. Mentally, this would be so intense if I were to try to do every single branch. But if I can just kind of do an impression of it, kind of like this, well, it works. The eye will put it all together for us. All right? Make it look like a bunch of trees there in the back. Okay? You can still see that sky kind of coming through, which is what I want. Okay. Even back in here, there's a bunch of branches here. All right. Yeah, just a bunch of branches. All right, that cut into the blue. All right. Don't have to do every single branch, just an impression of the area. Okay. Make sure to cover that paper up with all this gray here. Right, and then we'll blend this out and see what it looks like, and then we'll see what this peach looks like on top, kind of warm it up a little bit. All right, but first we'll just do this gray. Okay, there you go. That's pretty good. All right, now let's go ahead and just kind of rub it in with my hands here, just kind of see what that looks like. Again, Neopastel is nice and soft, so it's very easy to spread out compared to the Craypas here. I can just kind of do this with my thumb. Right, I don't need to use a solvent when I use the Neopastel. I can just gently kind of spread it out a little bit. Right, and I can still see some of that Craypas peach underneath that gray, which is good. And then I go again over here. Okay, It's kind of the same thing with the finger. Right, Neopastels are soft enough there where this process is not cumbersome and not hard to do. Okay. Try to keep my videos here shorter because it's kind of a mini tutorial, so I'm kind of focusing on making sure I don't go too long here on the recording length. Okay. All right, so over here I do the same thing. Alright, so I still see that peach from the Craypas coming through, which is great. Kind of reminds me of the warmth in there, and then we'll use this peach over the top just to see what that looks like. And then maybe I'll even bring something like this, because I do see maybe a hint of this too. Alright, so there you go. You can see there what that looks like there. Alright, so we're getting closer and closer. We'll just add a little bit of this peach, see what it looks like. Bring a little bit of warmth to this area, right? Because we have this light that kind of comes through this scene and kind of really lights it up back in there, and it's nice, this nice warm color. And I think this peach here is pretty close to what I want to get. All right, maybe over here we'll do a little bit of this kind of this pinkish color here. Maybe we'll put some of that in there too. Right, just a little bit of that. Right. Let's go back to this peach here. Alright, so we'll kind of vary that up a little bit. Okay. Alright, maybe more of this peach here. And this is up your discretion where you want to put these colors, but just kind of adds a nice touch to it, I think. And again, we'll just take the thumb and kind of lightly spread it. Okay. So by doing this, I cut the texture down. Right, you can see all the texture there in the color. See that? I just take my thumb right over it, and then I can kind of soften those edges, soften the texture out, kind of blend it out, kind of a light blend. And really I'm just taking my thumb and just spreading it out and spreading it around here. So, right, not a heavy blend. Right, but I really want to cut that texture in the background because I want the texture to be here and on the trees, but I don't want the texture really back in the background. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to keep playing with these two colors here. Maybe I'll put a little bit more, and I'll come back and I'll put a little bit more there. Alright, and then I'll start moving down. So again, I'm trying to keep these videos short of length. And again, if you're disappointed I'm not doing a full tutorial, don't worry. I will do a full tutorial on using Craypas and Neopastel together here at some point. But I need to offer some different types of videos so my YouTube channel algorithm just is much better for me. Okay? Alright guys, I'll be back. Okay guys, so I thought I'd show you where I'm at here. So lots changed here. So what I've done here is I started adding in these background trees. And basically what I did is I just took this medium gray, okay, and then I just kind of cut in like this. Started putting in branches and stuff. Alright? Actually I think it was this brown I was using. Right, but a medium gray would have worked, but I chose this brown here, and you just see I just kind of put in very impressionistic kind of capture of some of these distant trees here that I see here that are kind of in the background there. Right, and you can see now the branches are starting to come through, and then I took this peach here and then I cut in and did something like this, right, to get some of those side horizontal angular branches that maybe are catching some of that light. Okay, and then I moved down here and I'm using this lavender color to get in some of the shadowed parts of the snow, kind of cool it off here in this section. And then I'm taking this light gray and I'm starting to add in where the light is hitting this little path here. Okay, so that's where I'm at now, and I'll go ahead and work on this a little bit while you guys can watch. Right, there's a bush right here that's got a bunch of snow on it. Okay, we'll kind of just use, this is a light gray, we're not using white yet. Right, I don't like to use white here in the beginning to do my snow. I like to just go with these lavenders and light grays, and I can always come in with the white here and kind of really pop it. But right now this light gray and lavender are going to work lovely together here for what I want to do. There's another bush here that's got a bunch of snow on its little branches and twigs, right? kind of hitting that light here, and if I would need a little bit darker mark, I can just put in a little bit more pressure. Okay, right, and then it's all here. This is all like lit up here in the foreground. There's where the path is, and that's some of that's in shade. Okay, we can start really piecing this thing together here. You can see how well that light gray goes right over the top of that blue. Okay, and then to get it closer to the actual color, I can use this kind of lavendery color here. Right, and I can kind of cut it in on top of that blue, kind of get it closer to the actual snow color that I'm seeing here. All right, see how I'm just kind of working those in, working that light and shadow in. All right, we've got a long shadow here, another one that's right here. All right, so you can see how I'm coming there, how I'm coming along. And we'll just do another layer of this light gray there. All right. And then we'll save the white for later on when we get closer to the top layers of this here. All right, all the way to the edge of the paper. Right, haven't touched the trees yet. That's going to kind of be one of the last things I do, just because there's a lot of different texture and color in the trees, and I kind of want to save that for last, because I think it'll be the funnest part of this whole painting here. Now we have this bush here that's got a lot of these twigs and branches that come straight out of it, and they're all covered in snow, and they go in different directions, and right, so just you can just see how random that is. Right, and we're going for impressionist kind of look here. Come right in front of that tree. Okay, just kind of move through it, go fast, and eventually it'll all come together. Okay, so right here I'm going to bring another blue that I thought of. I just thought of this, and we'll bring this lighter kind of sky blue right in here, right here. All right, I like to add some different blues to the snow. I think it gives it a more believable kind of feel and look to it. So we'll kind of the sky blue right over the top of that. Okay, very light blend there with the fingers, and then we'll just keep adding more of this gray here. Right, and you can see the Neopastel does a good job of sitting on top of itself. It's able to layer right up on top of itself with no problem, just like the Sens almost. Not as good as the Sens, but pretty dang close. And again, it's just a nice brand here. So this path really fades away, and I don't want to use a lot of texture in that, so I'm going to kind of fade it out like that with my finger, but kind of you can see where it kind of goes and kind of leads the eye back in there. Okay, but again, texture in back here not as strong, texture up here very strong, so we don't do a lot of blending up here in the front. All right, you think about values, and values not only come in color, but they come in texture values, right? Texture values, so highly textured here at the front, blended and loose here in the back, right? Kind of leads us back into there. All right. Okay. All right, some more of this. Alright, now it's starting to really come together here, so this painting is actually coming pretty fast, coming together faster than I thought it would. So that's good. Not that you have to move fast, I like to kind of just go with my first thought, and usually it turns out better than overthinking something, you know what I mean? Sometimes I tend to overthink something and then you end up overdoing something. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here again, keeping these videos short. I'm going to clean up my hands a little bit, and then we'll come back to it in a little bit later.